Happy New Year, good afternoon, and welcome to D&J Drives. Today is Saturday the 18th of January 2025, and it is 5 minutes to 3, well 8 minutes to 3 really. And at this junction, right here at this point, we begin exploring the parish of St. Michael. So we are entering St. Michael from the south, having just exited Christchurch, and the first place of interest on the left is the Barbados Light and Power Company, of course. And this is Highway 7, and we exit immediately to go down to the Hilton. So St. Michael is, oh, and by the way, it's 29 degrees Celsius. Our viewers always like us to describe the weather. It's very hot in Barbados today. Nice weather. We are on the Aquatic Gap, making our way to the Barbados Hilton. As we pass the Radisson on our right, and the famous Cuzz on the right there, where you get those nice fish sandwiches, and that's the Hilton ahead of us. So you can enter St. Michael from 4 parishes. Christchurch, as we just did, from the south. St. George from the east, and St. Thomas and St. James from the north. So we are beginning exploring the parish of St. Michael from the south, and we will make our way up and across, then down and back up again. We envisage doing this in approximately 4 drives, but we are not certain as yet. But based on the current plan, it should be 4 drives. While we did Christchurch in 7 drives, there's a lot that we've already covered in St. Michael. For example, we did 3 videos on Bridgetown, and Bridgetown is the capital city in St. Michael. So we're not going to cover all of those things again. We did other places such as Bankhall. This is the illustrious Hilton Hotel here. We're just gonna go to the main entrance. That's the main entrance there. You can see tourists arriving and leaving, and look at the fantastic sea to the left and right ahead. Waves breaking right here. Beautiful. Welcome to historic Charles Fort, established 1960, a UNESCO World Heritage Site at the Hilton, the Barbados Hilton. Out here is a nice car park to come most days if you bring your lunch to work and you want to eat privately in your vehicle. This is a nice spot to come if the guard will allow you. Just tell him that you're just coming for 15 minutes or so to have your lunch, to have your meal, midday meal, and most times they will allow you. You can see the bay right there. That's a very popular spot for sea bathers. You can see there are 3 flags there, the US, the Hilton, and the Barbados flag. from this car park you can see directly into the city. You can see the port to the left. Hopefully you can see those cruise ships right down there, and then you can see the central bank building. Radisson Hotel out there. And that's the guard who allowed us in. So there are lots of places to see and many places of interest in St. Michael. We love to cover the residential areas as well. And there's a popular beach here. It's always difficult to navigate and maneuver this road because of all of the parking from the sea bathers. And this is the famous Cuzz. We have to highlight this place here. So our viewers always ask us about places to eat in Barbados. This is a very, very popular place, Cuzz, and you can see the entrance there to the Barbados Cruising Club. That's Errol Barrow's answer to the Barbados Yacht Club. So one at a time. Cuzz is a little operation where you can get fish cutters, or as some tourists call it, fish burgers, but it's basically a fish sandwich, and it's called a cutter in Barbados. This is the entrance to the Radisson here, but the gate is closed, so we won't venture. So the fish cutter is very popular. It's basically flying fish in Barbados, and it's very, very tasty. It's a must do if you visit Barbados. And the answer to Barbados Yacht Club, that was when in days of old, when the Barbados Yacht Club was predominantly reserved for white folk, private facility. Errol Barrow, I understand, established that facility for other types of Barbadians who may not have been able to join the yacht club. This is Brown Sugar, the old Brown Sugar restaurant, which is now closed down. This was the parking on the left, and this is a law firm on the right here, Unity Chambers. But this was Brown Sugar restaurant. It's so sad that it's closed down. I have so many memories of events at the Brown Sugar restaurant, known for its bread pudding. Very tasty. The food here was just awesome, as the young people say nowadays. It's really, really tasty food, nice service, spacious, and most of all very affordable. But that's now thing of the past. That was the car park there on the right. Brown Sugar Restaurant. I believe they were a victim of COVID, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't have the full background on that. Just want to return to this area so that you can see again. It doesn't appear that the camera picked up the name properly, so I just want to go back to do a better job at that. This is the Barbados Cruising Club that was established by Errol Barrow. It says Skippers on the Beach. There's a restaurant here, and it's the same idea as the Barbados Yacht Club, and Errol Barrow was known as the Skipper. That was his nickname. So the restaurant up there is essentially run in his honor. So we just turn back here at the insistence of my son, because he explained that the camera didn't capture the name. So some wonder how come he is so quiet and doesn't say much, but he is really navigating all of this, directing and planning, having pre-planned the drive and ensuring that any errors are corrected, any immediately detectable errors are corrected, detected and corrected. Of course, there are several errors that are detected long after we finish the recording. The church to the left there is closed down. That used to be the Christian Science Church. Don't see much activity there anymore. And we make our way back onto Highway 7 to take you to another point of interest, which is the George Washington House. So that's the Barbados Light and Power on the right there. Fantastic building. Turn off Highway 7 on the way to the Garrison, and you can see staff entrance, staff and service entrance. George Washington Cafe, George Washington Cafe there on the left, and this is the George Washington House on the left here. I'm not sure if we can enter with this snow cone lady blocking the entrance, but we will try. She's earning her dollars, so why not block the entrance to George Washington House while doing so? I have to make $1. So that's the cafe there, George Washington House, Garrison Tunnels Cafe. To see the actual house is something that you have to kind of do by foot, but before all of this hedge here, you could have seen it. Here's a doctor's office, and here lawyer's office as well. So we just go back a bit from this angle, and beyond that foliage is the house. You can see it better as we reverse in yellow. Now, of course, we are on the border to Christchurch, as we discussed at the end of our exploring the parish of Christchurch drive. But this drive is about exploring the parish of St. Michael. Highway 7, of course, runs all the way through St. Michael and Christchurch. And here we have the Garrison again. And Highway 7. So we're back onto Highway 7 now. This was the entrance here to get to the Hilton, and we are exploring St. Michael. So exploring St. Michael is going to be a bit different because we've covered so many parts of it already. We just want to cover new ground, but some of it unfortunately will be a bit of a repetition for some, because we will no doubt cover things that we've covered in other videos. We've done 3 drives on exploring Bridgetown, so it may be somewhat difficult not to repeat some of that. The entrance to the office of the Prime Minister of Barbados. This is the building. That's a statue of Sir Grantley Adams, first Premier of Barbados. You can see the Barbados flag and the CARICOM flag up here. This is a very proud building in Barbados, right across from Carlisle Bay, beautiful sea. Sir Grantley Adams. There are 3 doors, 3 wooden doors that you can see on the ground floor. That's the entrance. And on the floor right above, you can see a glass door, a small glass door. That's taking you into the cabinet room itself, and the Prime Minister's office is somewhere around there. So this is the Prime Minister's office, Prime Minister of Barbados. Beautiful building. If you look far out, you can see a Coast Guard vessel doing its thing, defending the nation's borders by sea. And this ventures into the back of the Prime Minister's office, government headquarters. This is the government printing office. And all of this is parking for senior civil servants. You can see all of the Mercedes-Benz MP68, 7198 and so on, MX50. And this is the back entrance where sometimes Prime Ministers exit. But usually they would be delivered and collected at the front door where we just showed you. But there are times when a Prime Minister needs to leave office discreetly, especially during times of crisis when the media are all over the place. Okay, somebody let us out, please. Maybe we should pause until we get out. So we're out and at a red light, so we have to pause again. So we have a lot of area to cover in St. Michael. We're gonna take our time. This is a car park to the beach here. This is one of the more popular beaches. See how much activity there is out here. Nice washrooms facilities at Carlisle Bay. That's the back of Bayview Hospital there, just beyond those houses. Bayview Hospital is being renovated extensively. So we are all along Highway 7. This is the mansion on the right. The Bay Mansion. Harbour Lights on the left. Very famous. Very famous nightclub. This is a little spot that we discovered some time ago. This is where people come for their fish on a Friday. Right here. And then there's lazy lizard in there. Acute Vision and Ricky Redmond and his nightclub, restaurant. Just turn back. So it's a nice little place to come and get food. They had a nice Old Year's Night lime out here. Oh, and actually there is Ricky Redmond. He has a place out here now where he does burgers, and it's like a little restaurant there. Just stop for a bit of a conversation. That's the name there, Browns Beach 246. Ricky Redmond's place. Nice food, nice ambiance, nice lime. Highly recommended. And for a precise location, it is exactly opposite the entrance to the Roman Catholic Cathedral on Bay Street. So for example, we are exiting and entering St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Primary School right ahead of us. And then this is the churchyard. So that school is the only Catholic school in Barbados, the only, well, one of the few private primary schools. Of course there are others, but they are not church based. This is the Roman Catholic Cathedral, and as you know, Barbados is not a Catholic country, so this religion is in the minority. Here's the churchyard, the burial ground rather. There was the Ursuline convent that operated in Barbados for over 150 years, but it is now closed and the nuns have returned to Guyana. So St. Angela's was the primary school associated with St. Ursula's. St. Francis Boys, the boys secondary, and St. Ursula's, the girls secondary. So the Ursuline convent was 3 schools, a primary co-ed and a boys secondary and a girls secondary. They are now closed down. So this St. Patrick's Primary School is the only school that offers supposedly a Catholic education. And this is a little garden here and memorial to those who have passed on. Some time ago this used to be the Ministry of Health. As we make our way down Jemmotts Lane, sorry. This building ahead of us was some sort of they call it the eye hospital or something like that, but it is subject of great controversy now because it was purchased or leased by someone privately who spent lots of money refurbishing it, and then there was an objection by those who felt that the architecture was being compromised, something along those lines, and then the government stepped in, and something about there wanting to be a car park, and it was a big noise. I don't know the full story, but that area there behind there is a nightclub now, bigger than most nightclubs, and apparently it was doing really well, and that didn't go down well with some people. Just turning off to show you behind here. Little secret residential area. Well, not a secret, but not somewhere that you would know of readily. Just off Bay Street, just behind the church. You can see the roof of the church right there. You can see this house is heavily fortified. More like an office now than a private home. This one is a private home. So we've been on for 30 minutes already, and we haven't even scratched the surface of St. Michael. So we're back on Highway 7. This is Dunlow Lane to the left. This is a well-known community, Dunlow Lane. They've been on the news several times for different reasons. A very tight avenue to pass through, but very densely populated. As you can see, homes everywhere, left and right. People playing their dominoes out there, having fun. This is Dunlow Lane. There's a cat among the pigeons. I wonder if the camera picked that up. Cat among the chicken, rather. Did we pick that up? Here we go. You can see these chickens right there. And the cat is just not interested in these. That's such a peculiar thing to see. The cat is very relaxed there while the paling behind it is collapsing. Now that wasn't planned. That's just something that we saw and picked up. So Dunlow Lane leads us off onto Henry's Lane. And this brings us to the Barbados Cancer Society. This is their car park. Tight parking. This is a very important facility here where the ladies come and do their mammograms, and sometimes it's better to come here for preventative reasons rather than the other reasons. This is St. Gabriel's School, a private educational facility, primary school. So when the parents collect their young ones, that's where they enter. This is the outside of the school that we're looking in. Gather this vacant land is owned by the school, but that's where people come on Henry's Lane to St. Gabriel's School, a private school that is essentially Anglican based. And all of the land to the right is owned by the Anglican Church. Anglicanism is the main religion in Barbados. That road ahead of us is Collymore Rock, but we want to turn off Henry's Lane to come into Purity Bakery, where you can get some good stuff right inside of there. Lovely bread and pastries and sweet and salt. back onto Collymore. Just at the inner Walters roundabout. We're not going that side today. That takes us to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. This is Jemmotts Lane. So these houses along here on the left, one of the houses there is where Owen Arthur, the late Prime Minister of Barbados, used to lime with a friend of his. Ladymeade Gardens. This is behind the Catholic Cathedral. This house here is the Bishop's house. As you can see, the sign says the Bishop's house. And to the right is where the priests, or some of the priests, live. That's the Bishop's office. And behind here you find all sorts of doctors' offices and Vashti Innes Empowerment Center, Heart and Stroke Foundation behind there. There you can see the top of the Catholic Cathedral and whoever lives here with their peeling. So behind here on the left is where the priests live, and this is the Bishop's office and house. That side is the office. This side is the house. In days of old, that was called the Bishop's Mansion. But now I see it's called the Bishop's House. These look like tourists walking around. Here we are again by this old facility. I was trying to remember the name of it. Oh, Savvy on the Bay. There's a sign. Savvy on the Bay. That's the name of the facility. I couldn't remember the name a while ago. That area is wild for nightlife. Very, very popular facility, and some people are fighting for it not to be removed and so on. So we're back on Highway 7. Dunlow Lane on the left, we entered a short while ago, and here's the St. Paul Anglican Church. This church is used by several schools in the area as their go-to church. For example, St. Gabriel's, where we visited a short while ago. This is where their students enjoy their church services, and there's a whole big facility at the back. Homes. This is the back of the facility. The St. Paul's Conference Center and it was opened by the Right Reverend Michael B. Maxwell in, I can't see what year it was. Oh, that looks like 2020. And you can see a nice little shuttle house here behind the wall. See, these are the little things that you would never see if you don't go exploring. No, you're really not supposed to pass here, but this is the kind of a back alley. Hope we don't get our tires punctured. So we showed you the front gate of St. Gabriel's, and this is its back gate. What's interesting about this area is the community. It's very densely populated, and all of the people here, they keep their homes very, very clean and tidy. Just take a look at it. Very close, right behind St. Gabriel's. So we are on this road behind here in the Bayland. Let me turn off because you can see people lining on the streets. Very tight roads. This is St. Paul's Avenue. Right, so we just want to come through here. All the little boys riding their bikes and everybody's having a good time. These are the small communities that we're exploring today as we explore the parish of St. Michael. This is Bayview Avenue. That house burnt some time ago. One thing I always notice is that in some areas you tend to find things like this with children playing and running around outside, but in the more affluent areas everybody seems to be more inside than out. Under construction there, but for the most part the houses out here are wooden structure. Very narrow roads. And then we get back out to just navigate our way out Beckles Road. So all of these areas here are very densely populated. This is the Bayview Hospital to the right, the new Bayview Hospital under construction. We'll just come back up this road and we turn to make the connection to St. Paul's. So to the left is the Prime Minister's office. Carlisle Bay is ahead of us. On Highway 7 we are. That's the Carlisle Bay beach facility we pass on the left. Harbour Lights on the left. Bay Mansion on the right. Would love to enter that mansion one day. The Bay Mansion. I'm not sure who lives there, but I've always noticed it. The name of the property is the Bay Mansion. So this is the entrance here on the right to St. Paul's Anglican Church, established in 1833. Catholic Church again on the right, the Catholic Cathedral. Savvy on the Bay. And then of course the famous Copacabana. Massive construction going on in Barbados, as you can see on the right, yet another such property. And on the left is the famous boatyard. We are now entering Bridgetown itself. So you can't explore the parish of St. Michael and not touch Bridgetown, but as I said, we've done 3 drives exploring Bridgetown already, where all of this was covered. We're just passing here to make a turn back into the area. This is Independence Square. That's facing Fairchild Street. Golden Square Freedom Park is on the left. That's a new facility on Probyn Street. Right ahead of us here is where the Yacht is being constructed. And this whole area here is going to be a completely different look in Bridgetown in years to come, because the whole waterfront is being redone. But this area to the left here, along Bay Street, all of this is lower income areas. Wellington Street, where you can see government facilities and multi-level housing facilities, children playing on the streets, medical facilities in here. Missed the turn. Fortunately for these residents, their homes got a little facelift when the Cricket World Cup was approaching. So you can see how nicely they look. everything is well painted. NHC office, National Housing Corporation, that's what the sign there says. So Wellington Street is a very popular street in St. Michael. Turning right here takes us back to Highway 7. Believe it or not, this area is called Chancery Lane. Combermere Street. You can see the sign here, Combermere Street, as we just face Copacabana or Copacabana. Another area for nightlife and liming, and this whole area on the south coast, there's no end of facilities for nightlife. This is Copacabana Beach Club. Take a right turn just opposite. So from Bay Street, nobody will let you in, boy. Lime Tree Bar. Beckwith Street. Oxley Street to the right, and you can always find children playing in these areas. Back onto Wellington Street. I'm not certain why that is, but it always seems as if the children in more depressed areas somehow always seem to enjoy themselves more. Just want to turn here, you can see the people liming on the street. We'll make our way back up Wellington Street in a short while, but this is Nelson Street. This is supposedly a very dangerous area where people are warned about. Everything seems very calm to me. A bit of a tight drive-through. King William Street on the right. And then this Nelson Street takes us on to River Road. we don't want to discuss too much about River Road because this is essentially in the heart of Bridgetown. We're not talking about Bridgetown today, but again, you can't ignore Bridgetown if you're exploring St. Michael, right? But if you want to know about River Road and Bridgetown, D&J Drives has an Exploring Bridgetown series over 3 parts. So off River Road, just by Affinity Plus Credit Union, you can find Nelson Street. This is the famous Nelson Street. From the other angle this time. Queen Street, Jordan's Lane, and notice the names are very familiar to, for example, in Trinidad, you have Nelson Street, Queen Street. Clearly these islands have all been influenced by the British. And here we go back up Wellington Street. So we first turned off by the plannings on Wellington Street from Highway 7, and now we're going to make our way right across the rest of it. Touch of Gold Chill Spot. There are turnoffs everywhere, but we're just going to stay straight across Wellington Street for this part of the drive. Okay, back onto River Road, and then the inner Walters roundabout again, Collymore Rock, we've passed here a number of times, a lot of repetition, but we're just exploring the parish of St. Michael, trying to show you the dwellings. Earlier we had mentioned that Owen Arthur used to lime at that house, so it was such a funny thing to me to drive here sometimes and see the Prime Minister's vehicle MP2 parked along there while he had lunch with, or various meals with, his friend who was interviewed when he died. He was described as a beekeeper, and Owen Arthur used to go there for various meals and so on. So it was really funny to see. We've turned back now once again. See here, if Owen Arthur, when he was Prime Minister, would have come down this road and then made his way to government headquarters, his office, where he had his meals with his friend, the beekeeper. These people here blocking this Cedar is just parked. Can't pass, no indicator. Such a selfish thing to do. He's trying to get those 2 tourists, so he's just parked there and doesn't care what's going on, who else is behind. Oh, don't get me started on these ZR drivers. So this is the government headquarters, the Prime Minister's office. And we turn off Highway 7, or turn off Bay Street, Highway 7 onto Beckles Road. And we're gonna pass just at the Bayview Hospital. And many of you who haven't been to Barbados in a while will be surprised to see the changes. This is Bayview Hospital on the left. All of this was car park. So if you look, that's the old Bayview Hospital piece there. And this is the addition. Now going to be a full hospital with an A&E and other facilities. This is another cricket club here. This is the Bayview Hospital. You can see behind, that's the original building behind there, and all of this in front is the new hospital. Many Barbadians were born here, and many more will be when this facility is finished. Big project, and across there is the Geriatric Hospital on the left, and it's going to be moving shortly to big facility on the ABC highway just by Waterford Bottom to the end there. This is the entrance to the Geriatric Hospital. Call this Block E. There's a lot to St. Michael, and we're going to do our best to show you the places of interest and the various residential areas. Just across from the entrance to the Geriatric Hospital is Lawrence Avenue. So that cricket club on the left, just across from Bayview Hospital, takes you to Lawrence Avenue. This is Lawrence Avenue here. And if we turn around on it, this is another residential area, but we're just trying to show you the other angle. So that's the Geriatric Hospital ahead of you there, and this is the Bayview Hospital ahead of you there. So the two facilities are neighbors, but of course the Geriatric is being relocated. And this is the cricket club on the left, whose name I can't remember. This is Lawrence Avenue, and you can see Mansion Place on the left. You can see everybody on the street having a good time, and get a nice view of the Bayview Hospital there. Little shop, and you see these communities here are relatively peaceful, densely populated. This is the most densely populated parish in Barbados, St. Michael. That's St. Paul's there. It's a nice view of St. Paul's actually from the back of it. As we understand it, 1/3 of the population of Barbados live in St. Michael. So this is a very important parish to explore. Once again, we just passed driving by the Bayview Hospital. And there's a lot to be seen. There are other communities like Lawrence Avenue out here, so we won't continue showing you that. We'll just continue today's drive. That's Lawrence Avenue on the left. This is Beckles Road. Beckles Road leads to Bayview Hospital. You can see Clark's Avenue, Evelynes Avenue, all of these avenues to the left and the right come off of Beckles Road. You just turn down. Piper's Avenue. And you can see one of the residential areas of Beckles. Now you can see different type of architecture out here. Look at these new houses to the right and the left, but look at this particularly large one. It gives the impression that it's really apartments, but it may be one dwelling. can see how a third of Barbados's population lives in St. Michael. Every possible square inch is occupied. And where you don't see homes or a playing area, it's a dumping ground for all vehicles. And some very, very tiny roads as well, like this one. Look at these homes here, all very tight. This one brings us on to Chelsea Road now. So this is Chelsea Road, where the Dance Play Studio does its thing. You have Chelsea Gardens on your right. And then suddenly you can see a higher end housing solution. There's Banyan Court on the left. Very popular apartments. And suddenly we are just back out from where we started. Across there you can see a high-rise condo going up there. High-rise, high-end luxury villas. This is the Yacht Club across from us. Barbados Yacht Club. So we're just gonna nip in and out of the Yacht Club because this is a private facility. Just to show you where it is. So we've spent most of today's drive along here. This is where we more or less started. Another place to recommend is the Indian Grill, which we just passed. Good roti, decent roti. So if you're from Trinidad and Tobago or Guyana and you're looking for a roti, that's a place to try. And we turn back here. Back to George Washington House. Flirting with the border of Christchurch, but not entering Christchurch. Christchurch is just across the Garrison there. But we are passing through the back of the Garrison to pick up some of this activity. Horse racing activity at the Garrison. This is the season. just across there to the right, if we went on that side, we would be back at Christchurch. We're turning off. We're on Dalkeith Road, but we're just turning off to get back onto Chelsea Road so that you can see another residential area. These areas here are very well established and old residential areas. And they are worth exploring because they can give you a good idea of what old Barbados was like. The original, these houses would have been well-to-do houses in their time, in the 1930s and so on. Of course, some of them would have been redone, like these two to the left. Sandbox Avenue. Chelsea Road, and where we just turned off onto that residential area there are many turns like that, and most of the houses are quite similar. They have turned off here for us to pass. Thank you. Dance place. Notice how close everything is. Areas are very tight in terms of turning. So you can see this home here, very modest and very private. Not much room to turn, but this house here is obviously no longer occupied, covered with bush or covered by bush. And then of course this house on the left, and then there's a beauty like this one down here. Nowhere to turn there, so we're just showing you the general area. So you have areas like this on Chelsea Road, and then you have areas like this, Chelsea Gardens. Now look at how narrow the entrance is. When you're coming down here, you have to know who you're coming to. In and out. So people see you coming down here and they know, well, you're not really coming to someone, you're just turning, because you have no reason to come down in here unless you know. But look at this beautiful structure here. All of these houses are side by side with simple and sophisticated, and paling and wall all together. Back onto Chelsea Road. Chelsea Gardens again. And here we see Banyan Court. Past Banyan Court a short while ago. These are some popular apartments in here. Everybody wants a place in Banyan Court. And you see how that car is covered. There are many people who own apartments in here who live overseas. They come home for the winter and so on. So this facility here is well maintained and very, very popular. And this is one of the residential areas in St. Michael. So strange, everybody is standing there staring at us. It's very funny. Back onto Chelsea Road. Back onto Highway 7. And we just turn off here so that you can see this construction, ongoing construction. Promises to be a very illustrious housing solution. High-rise, luxury condos in the millions of US. This area here, this across here is a restaurant. Sage Bristol. And all across there used to be residential areas. Sage Bistro. Past the Prime Minister's office again, overlooking Carlisle Bay. So this is part 1 of exploring the parish of St. Michael. We've touched the boundary to Christchurch. We're really exploring today from the southern entrance, and we've tried our best to cover the residential areas in this area. There are several others to be seen. We've also highlighted church and school facilities, recreational facilities in the area, and hopefully that assists in your understanding of St. Michael as a parish. We're passing the Catholic Church for the last time on this drive, as well as Browns Beach 246, a new facility that has lovely food, lovely environment, great prices. I've been there many times with my son. There's even pudding and sauce. Past Copacabana again. All of this is Bay Street, but on your map it should say Highway 7. And we are going back into the heart of it. So if we went straight there, we're going into Bridgetown, into the city. Just to close this off, we're going back onto Wellington Street, which is one way at this point. So we broke it up earlier. We're going to go straight across this time. And of course we're going to cross Nelson Street, which we mentioned earlier. We passed and it was very calm, but of course, you know, it has its ups and downs. Some time ago there was a mass shooting where I believe 4 people perished. Several, how many? 10 people were shot and 4 perished. And that's Nelson Street, Wellington Street. But it's not all war and crime in Barbados, and we are trying to show the positive side of things. Many people would be surprised to know that mass shootings do occur here, but we passed the spot where it occurred, but we deliberately didn't mention it because we don't want to highlight any particular area and sort of give it a bad name. But this has been the past last hour and 31 minutes. This has been a pleasure covering part 1 of the St. Michael, exploring the St. Michael series. Okay, we tried to end here, but someone came behind. We need to pull out of here because based on how he's behaving, I don't want to incur his wrath. We will just turn off here. We wanted to end this drive facing that house. No traffic was expected, but someone came. So we will turn down on Spruce Street to end today's drive. And how ironic that we were trying to talk about the peaceful nature of Barbados and encountered what we just did. But you have highs and lows in everything. So we just turn into here to face the same property. And just to say that St. Michael is 15 square miles in terms of its area, and we will be doing our best to cover most of it over the next few parts. This is the end of part 1. It is 10 to 3 on Saturday the 18th of January 2025. And the temperature is currently 28 degrees. I hope you enjoyed this one, and this is DNJ Drive saying goodbye until next time.